Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. Now, I want to give you guys a preface to this now. The power rankings for the foreseeable future will be now posted on Wednesdays. I had some stuff that happens in my day job schedule that I will not be able to post on Tuesdays, but instead it will be posted on Wednesdays for the foreseeable future. Just to give you guys a heads up, a little bit of a warning about the scheduling of these videos. But it is time to get into the Week 11 power rankings. There's been a lot of stuff going on in this NFL world. It's been crazy. It's not really a dominant team, which I like it that way. It's not really a clear cut, a lot of different things. But let's get into the power rankings for Week 11. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Alright guys, here goes my Week 10 rankings. This is where I had each team in Week 10. Now, let's see if anything changes for Week 11. And as we always do, we start off with teams with bye weeks. So the Kansas City Chiefs, they were at an S, they stay at an S. The Los Angeles Rams were at a C, they stay at a C. The Miami Dolphins were at a B, they stay at a B. And then the Philadelphia Eagles were an S tier football team, they stay there. So now getting to the teams that played football in Week 10, we're going to the Arizona Cardinals. Despite the win, with Kyler Murray coming back, I still have them as one of the worst teams in football. But we see the difference type of quarterback like Kyler Murray can make with the football team. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. Even though Josh Dobbs is not a slouch in his own right, he's just not at the level of Kyler Murray. So I like what this team did against the Falcons, so I'm going to put them in a D. Speaking of the Falcons, I'm going to drop the Falcons to a C. This is an inconsistent football team, whether it's the quarterback position, whether it's defensively. It has just been very inconsistent for the Atlanta Falcons over the past couple of weeks. I know my brother is a big Falcons fan, but they are just an inconsistent football team. Next, we're going to have the Baltimore Ravens. I still think they're one of the best teams in the AFC, despite the late loss to the Cleveland Browns, but I still think this is one of the better defenses, even though they didn't play as well against the Browns. Offensively, I still think there could be some consistency there, but I still have them as one of the best football teams. I'm going to keep them in an S for now. We'll see what this Thursday night game against the Bengals looks like, but I'm going to keep them at an S. Next is the Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna keep the Bills at a B from where I had them last week. They are just a wildly inconsistent football team. Wildly inconsistent. They are a football team that just have the highest of highs and it just completely sink and have the lowest of lows. It's just like, what game are you gonna get from this football team? Turnover Josh Allen or the successful completions of Josh Allen? What are you going to get from this football team? I know they have a bunch of injuries on the defensive side of football, but they are just so up and down, which surprises me because I picked them to win the Super Bowl. It's not looking good. Carolina Panthers, they are right there with the Cardinals, one of the worst teams in the NFL. And speaking of the Carolina Panthers, their opponent was the Chicago Bears, my Chicago Bears. I'm keeping the Bears at a D. I know they're coming off a win, but it was an ugly win with both teams. The Panthers and the Bears just did not look good. Offensively, neither team could throw the football on a consistent basis. And special teams-wise, the game would have been a lot further away. The Bears' special teams didn't perform in a bad rate, especially the punt return. It was a game between two bad football teams at this point. I know we didn't have Justin Fields and Tyson Bagent has not looked good, but it's just two bad football teams. So I got them at a D. Next is Cincinnati Bengals. I had them at an A. I had them at an S. I'm dropping them. I'm not saying that there was a bad game. It was just, the Houston Texans, I'll give credit to them, but it's just the Bengals, outside of a few mistakes, will probably win this ball game. But it's just the fact of their defense let up a little bit late, which is why I'm going to have to put them in an A tier for this week. Next is the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to keep the Browns in the A tier. A big win against the Baltimore Ravens. Big 14-point comeback in the fourth quarter. Deshaun Watson with his legs, I think, really changed the dynamic of that game. And Baltimore couldn't really sustain it. So, and then the Browns defense came up with some big plays, came up with a pick six in Lamar Jackson. And the Browns have, I think, one of the best defenses in the NFL at this point with Myles Garrett. He's looking like a defensive player of the year right now. So I'm going to put the Browns at an A tier. Next is the Dallas Cowboys. Should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb have been on a roll. Their defense has been kind of a little bit so-so, but you were playing the New York Giants with Tommy DeVito, and a lot of people still call him Daddy DeVito, for Christ's sake. I mean, I could put them at an S for now. They're right there with one of the better teams in the NFC, so I'm going to put them at an S for now. For now. But I'm going to do my Stephen A. line. This is fluid. It's fluid. I'm going to put it there now. Next is the Denver Broncos. Much needed win. I think they're starting to get on a little bit of a roll. It's crazy to think this Broncos defense has been playing some really good football. Offensively, it looks like they're finally starting to find some sort of a rhythm. Running game, Russell Wilson has been playing some better football. It's crazy to think this team get up 70 points and they've just been bad. I think they've gotten better and better every single week ever since. So I'm going to put them at a B. Detroit Lions, you know what? I'm going to drop the Cowboys to an A. I'm going to put the Detroit Lions in an S tier. To get that game against the Chargers team who's been playing better football as of late, Jared Goff and that offense is right now, I think, the best offense in the NFL as far as how things have looked with them running the football with Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. Amon-Ra St. Brown's been playing some really good football for him. And Jared Goff has really been well. So I'm going to put the Lions in an S. The defense let up a little bit, but they have been better this season than they were last year. Lions, I'm going to put them in an S. Next is the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to keep them in a C. I don't think they're one of the bottom teams like my Bears are, or the Panthers, or anybody like that. I think they're just a step above. Now, they had chances to win this game against the Steelers, and they didn't play well down the stretch. So I'm going to put the Packers at a C tier. Next is the Houston Texans. I had them at a B. I'm going to keep them at a B. It's crazy to think because the Bengals, they beat. And it's crazy to think because other teams they have beaten. And C.J. Stroud from the Ohio State University. That man has been playing his butt off. I love to see it. And of course, me being a Buckeye fan, I love to see him. The connection he has with Noah Brown, also of the Ohio State. The running game, Singletary had a tremendous day against the Bengals. And C.J. Stroud, potential MVP candidate? Looking like it. Next up is the Indianapolis Colts. That game didn't look good against New England. It really didn't look good, so I'm going to keep him at a C. Jonathan Taylor with a lone touchdown of their day. Minshew didn't have the greatest of games. I know I had to end up getting on my fantasy team. But their defense played well. They made Mac Jones look pedestrian again. So it wasn't a pretty game, but they got the W, and I'm going to keep them at a C. Next up is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to drop them. I had them at S last week. I'm going to drop them to an A. They just got shellacked. They look like a fraud of a football team of what they've been playing like the last few weeks versus what they looked like last week against the 49ers. They couldn't get anything done offensively. They couldn't get things done defensively. So I'm going to put this team at an A. Next is the Los Angeles Chargers. I had them at a B. I'm going to drop the Chargers. It's just this team. It's just, they are kind of like the Bills, but I think they're a lesser version. They just have so much inconsistent football. They just have so much inconsistent football. So I'm going to drop them to a C. Next is the Las Vegas Raiders, coming off of a late win against the Jets. I had them at a C. I'm going to keep them there, even though they have been looking a lot better with Antonio Pierce than what they were versus Josh McDaniels. So I'm going to put this football team at a C. All right, we have the Minnesota Vikings up next. They are coming off of a win. I'm going to keep the Vikings at a B. Josh Dobbs has his team looking very good. Their defense has been playing solid as of late. And it's just crazy how this Vikings team is still on a roll despite losing Kirk Cousins for the season. So I'm going to put them at a B tier. New England Patriots, they're still at a D. Worst team in the AFC, in my opinion. One of the worst teams in football. Mac Jones got benched for Christ's sake. And is the Bill Belichick era and over with? Starting to look like it. Starting to look like it. This team is just not playing any type of good football at all. New Orleans Saints coming off of a crazy loss. I have to drop them to a C. This team is another inconsistent football team. A team that doesn't do well in the red zone at this point. A defense that is a very good defense. It's just offensively, Derek Carr has been dealing with some injuries at this point. They've just not been playing some really good football. So I'm going to put them at a C for now. Giants, they have no quarterback play at this point. Saquon Barkley is that football team. That defense, they already traded Leonard Williams. It's not a good football team. Injuries hurts, but not a good football team. Jets, I'm going to put that at a C for them. They're still there. I don't think their defense is what's keep them in a lot of football games. Zach Wilson is just so up and down. He's so up and down. So I'm going to put them at a C. Next is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to put them at an A. I'm almost close to putting them at an A, and I think I will. It's just no matter what, this team just finds ways to win football games. Shout out to Mike Tomlin, who is my favorite coach in the NFL. No matter what type of play they get out of Kenny Pickett, and the running game I think it's gotten a lot better over the last couple of weeks. And defensively, they're starting to get healthy, even though Minka Fitzpatrick has been dealing with some injury bugs. It's just this team just finds ways to win football games. They find ways to win games. And at the end of the day, winning is all that matters, and they just find ways to win. So I'm going to put the Steelers at an A. And I'm also going to put the Seattle Seahawks at an A. I like what this team is doing offensively. Defensively, I think they're really starting to get better as a football team. And it's just the Seahawks team. Geno has had his moments where he hasn't played the best football. The running game has been solid for them. I like what Kenneth Walker can do. And of course, my boy Jackson Smith-Njigba. I just wish Metcalf would be a little bit more consistent. But I'm going to put the Seattle Seahawks at an A tier for the moment. Next is the San Francisco 49ers. The way they look, I'm putting them back at an S. That was just a dominant win. And they're coming off a bye week where they're getting guys healthy. Debo's back. Trent Williams is back. So I think they're starting to get back healthy. They're starting to get some things back in order for the San Francisco football team after losing 3 straight. I'm going to put them back at an S tier, especially going up against the Jaguars team that was good as well, and they just look dominant. So I'm going to put this boy, I can't talk. I'm going to put the 49ers at an S. Next is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off of a win against the Titans. I'm going to put them at an average. They're pretty much an average football team at this point. So I am going to put them at B. Baker Mayfield just so I'm not going to say inconsistent, just back and forth a little bit. Defensively, they've had the games where they just look bad, and they've had games where they look good. So I'm going to put them at a B. Tennessee Titans, I'm going to keep them at a C. They're not bottom-level football team. And Will Levis has been playing some solid football. For him to be a rookie, he's been playing some solid football. And I've always said, at some point, he's going to play, or Malik Willis. I don't know why the name was kind of leaving me, but I knew it was going to be one of them. And Will Levis is the guy, and he's been playing solid. But this team is still, I think, in a state of flux. And then the Washington Commanders, I'm dropping into a C after a loss to the Seahawks. Even though they played well, it's just this team I don't think they do enough to close out games. Even though Sam Howell's been playing solid football this year, they cannot close football games and win them. So these are my list for week 11. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great next day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.